Committee Room 21. Signed. 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 Committee Room 21, 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 signed. Committee Room 21. 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 Signed. Committee Room 21, 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 signed. Committee Room 21. 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 Signed. Committee Room 21, 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 signed. Committee Room 21. 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 Signed. Committee Room 21, 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 signed. Committee Room 21. 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 Signed. Committee Room 21, 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 signed. Committee Room 21. 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 Signed. Committee Room 21.
Okay, everyone, so if we can ensure that our mobile phones are muted, and welcome. Hi, good afternoon,
Right,
Harry,
good.
that's great. Okay. Hello, guys. just go straight into the evidence session and then we'll pick things up afterwards, okay? If we're okay with the draft minutes and stuff like that. So you're very welcome.
Thanks very much, Chair.
It's great to see you in post and at committee, David, and good to see you again, Gareth. Really appreciate you joining your colleague here today. So hopefully it'll be quite an easy session. It's really just to meet you before summer recess. David, really appreciate it. And if you want to give us an update, and then we'll take questions from members.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Chair, members, and thank you for your invitation to meet you today. I took up post as Interim Permanent Secretary on the 17th of June. Effectively, this is day 13, but I'm not superstitious. Gareth Johnson's accompanying me this afternoon. I just want to put on record my appreciation to Gareth for stepping up as accounting officer prior to my appointment. My appointment is on an interim basis. It's expected to last for up to 12 months while next HR undertake a review into the previous substantive Permanent Secretary competition. The post will ultimately be advertised in accordance with all SS opportunities in the natural time of things. Whilst my appointment may be as an interim Permanent Secretary, I can assure you, Chair, I do not plan to simply keep the seat warm. Our ministers have an ambitious and challenging programme of work, and I'm conscious it will be my job to support them in delivering that. My role will be to lead that work across the department on their behalf. That will be my primary focus, delivering those priorities and supporting ministers in all they are required to do. Of course, it will very much be a team effort across the department. I'm delighted that Professor Helen McCarthy from Queen's University will be joining us here in TO as the Executive's first Chief Scientific and Technical Advisor. Helen's an internationally recognised leader in science and technology, and her appointment will add significantly to the senior team in TO and will put science and technology at the heart of the Executive's work. Working alongside the head of the service and colleagues in DOF, the First Minister and Deputy First Minister have also asked that we explore the establishment of a new reform and transformation division within TO. Central to that would be a new delivery unit to help drive delivery of the priorities that I referred to earlier. So making sure our people have both the capacity and capability to deliver against these priorities will be a key focus for me. I'm pleased to see that TO has recently been re-accredited silver status in Investors in People, the only department to hold this level of accreditation in the NICS. So whilst I can take absolutely no credit whatsoever for that achievement, it's nevertheless a positive reflection on how the department has been valuing and supporting its people. Chair, I appreciate this is a particularly busy week for members. I will draw my very brief introductory remarks to a close now and allow the committee to maximise the time available as you see fit. In doing so, it goes without saying, I look forward to working constructively with you and all members in the weeks and months ahead. And once again, my thanks for your invitation to have this early introductory session, which you're on record as saying will be easy for me, and I will hold you to that.
Thank you so much. So last week we did a very quick sort of stock take of where we felt that the Executive Office was in terms of delivering against the 100-day goals, and with quite a list of areas that we felt hadn't been achieved. So I'm just wondering whether you were able to get a readout from that meeting, or would you like me to go through some of the areas that we are particularly interested in, or do you want to talk to us about your priorities of things that you would like to drive forward and get over the line now that you're in post?
So look, I'm conscious that there's a letter with our minister to respond back to on the 100 days, and that will come in due course. And there has been a lot of activity over since the Assembly was restored and the Executive came back in February. So, and the ministers will spell out that. Certainly my priority, my focus now will be looking forward to make sure how we can make sure that delivery is as sharp as it can be. The ministers have been really clear. I met them on day 2, and both First and Deputy First Minister were really clear that delivery is at the heart of what they want to see us doing. So whilst I'm really pleased to look at a lot of the people metrics that Gareth and Dennis and people before have put in place, to me that's a really good foundation. My focus now, given my background, where I've come from, will be on delivery. So it will, and so therefore I want to build on the progress we've made, but I also am very conscious that we're moving past the stage now where the Executive is back, and we've done a lot of time, we've taken a lot of time to consider where we are and what has been happening in the intervening periods, and as I say, particularly as we move into the next mandate or into the next period when the Assembly sitting, I think delivery will become a sharper focus, and that's where my focus will be. On the areas of interest to you that you want to talk about last week, I'm more than happy at this stage to pass that to Gareth, who will happily take you through that if that's what you're looking for.
Okay, so I suppose the areas that I'm interested in, because we got a letter, and it's in the committee packs, members will be aware, around the review of the race relations order, and it sort of seems, from what I read, that because that review was initiated whenever the First and Deputy First Minister weren't in post, that in some ways they don't feel that they have ownership of it, so it's now going back for another review. Is that my reading of it? Or if you maybe just want to tell me what's happening with the race relations review.
No, in terms of the legislation, there was a consultation exercise that was undertaken, as you know, before ministers come back. We've been assembling the results of that consultation, looking again at the policy proposals, revising those in the light of the consultation that was done, and that is going to ministers pretty imminently. So it's not been that
Being unpicked, is it not?
It's ministers really have yet to have an opportunity to consider the detail. We've taken the opportunity, obviously, to flag that this is something that's coming, and obviously the level of community interest that there is in it as well. It's an important topic, and you will have seen that in the legislative programme that has been set out, it's envisaged that the new race relations legislation is going to be coming through that programme.
Okay, thank you. I suppose just to pick up on your point, David, around the sort of constructive engagement with our committee, and you may be aware that we've been quite frustrated at times that we have received papers very late, sometimes even after the committee meeting has taken place. And I'm just wondering, to what degree will you take a hand in ensuring that we as a committee get those papers in good time?
Look, I think that's a frustration that occasionally might be shared within our department as well, that I absolutely have to have a look at the administration and how, we have 4 ministers, we have 5 special advisors, we have 4 private offices. We need to make sure that we're putting the papers in at the right time to allow the ministers time. There's absolutely no point, with less than 24 hours on us asking ministers with their diaries to clear the sort of thing. So a lot of the frustration you're having is not necessarily created by the ministers' lack of attention to detail. On many occasions, we're simply not being able to meet the timescales. I absolutely will be taking responsibility for looking at that. That's something that has already been raised with me. It's easier in a single department, having come from that, I get that, but equally we need to be better and sharper at that, and that's part of what I'll be looking to try and do over the summer months, to focus on delivery, to look at what systems we have in place, and actually, are they serving our ministers and their role to serve you and to fulfil the duties and responsibilities they have.
Okay, thank you. And just a last one for me for now. So obviously the last day or so we've been talking about the June monitoring and also the budget. And when we had our first briefing, I think, Gareth, you presented it, there were vacancies within the department, and we now know that there's money to be made up in terms of over commitments and pressures within the executive office. So can you maybe speak to any vacancies and any pressures you have within your staffing, and then also then in terms of commitments and pressures?
Yeah, so look, like every department, we're running with vacancies. We've currently 47, which actually, with a head count of 430, that's quite a high percentage. We're running with 66 temporary promotions. Again, that's not out of kilter with what other departments are facing. It's about 15%. So the good side of that, if there is such a thing, is it does create some headroom for us to overcommit against. So we have about a £1.3 million overcommitment around some of that. We are working with our next HR colleagues, just like all departments are. It is frustrating. It's immensely frustrating. There's a tremendous amount of work goes on with next HR, but ultimately when they advertise, what happens is internal people are successful, and that then creates a vacancy elsewhere in the system, and they have to then cover that. We're also struggling to recruit at certain grades. There's absolutely no doubt within the public sector we are We are certainly in the accountancy profession, some of the professional grades, we are struggling to keep up pace with what the private sector and where they are now, and there are a number of reviews underway with Next HR. So those aren't unique to us. I would say in the Executive Office we're probably on a par with every other department in terms of our vacancies, our headcount and what we're doing, and that means we need to be really careful about the work we take on or about where the priorities are, to make sure we've got enough flexibility and agility that we can move people to where the priorities are rather than leave gaping holes and just park things unnecessarily.
Okay, thank you. I'll move on now. Go ahead, Deputy Chair.
Thank you both for coming in, and it's lovely to meet you for the first time as well, so I appreciate you taking the time out to join us today. Something that I'm really keen to see over the line is the Ending Violence Against Women and Girls strategy, and I do have concerns that I've raised before, that MLAs were in briefings when there was no assembly last year. We were being told that the strategy was due to very soon be published. It could be published in November of 2023. We're now sitting in July 2024. We're going into recess, which will take us into September. That's nearly a year later, and it hasn't been published. Women are dying in their own homes. Several women have died in their own homes. And this is a day one priority for all parties. Where is it?
So, it is absolutely a priority. There's no question about that. You'll immediately chant your back. There's also a priority. Where is it? There was a tremendous amount of work done when ministers obviously weren't in post, and when ministers came back in, we had a tremendous amount of work to bring them up to speed to what we had done. I think the engagement in the consultation sector has been universally recognised as being absolutely gold-plated and fantastic. What we're trying to do, so the strategy, the draft framework basically exists. What we haven't identified is how do we now take forward the actions out of that we want to do within TO. There have been several meetings to try and, with the team, I'm having another one later this week, which will probably be the fourth meeting in 13 days with them, to try and finalise what we can do, as opposed to producing an endless action list that then is to be confirmed in terms of budget. I want to be clear about what we can actually deliver in the short term to start doing things now. There is already a lot of work already done. The key message from the strategy is about prevention. So that is the key message that the sector and the co-design process come out with. There's already significant work being done with Department of Justice. There's conversations happening with the education system. So there is some significant work happening beneath the surface already around some of the key message around that. Why we simply haven't published this stage is we haven't agreed within TO a package to put to our ministers that actually they can then take forward as their contribution to the strategy. I'm expecting that to be tidied up within the next couple of weeks. So again, I would hope to be in a position that we can present to ministers certainly well before the end of July, practical, realistic, costed, funded proposals that they can announce with the framework whenever it's ready to be released by them.
Thank you. I totally agree. The process of co-design and co-production has been viewed pretty positively by the women's sector especially, and that is something that I think has been good. We also are very conscious that two directors have been in front of this committee, Claire Archibald and Geraldine Fee. They have been absolutely fantastic at driving this forward. I just think there's a lot of people in the sector, there's a lot of women out there who see this as something that's maybe stalled, something that could have been a day one priority ready to go and hasn't materialised yet. Is this something that could be done over the summer, or are we going to have to wait until the end of the summer recess in September when the Assembly's back?
So it will be an executive strategy, so it will, but what we're looking at are the aspects that TO can take forward specifically. So I think we can make significant progress. So we can, there's process to everything the civil service does, you'll appreciate that, but that's not to say we have to wait until we have all the approvals in place. So I envisage that the ministers will want to share this with their executive colleagues. They will want to announce it in the Assembly, so they will. Whether or not they wait until we are ready to announce actions, or actually whether we can move forward with actions, that's something we'll discuss with ministers. But certainly it would be our intention that everything will carry on now in parallel. Most of the work has been done. It's really just identifying what are we actually going to do now. We've got the evidence base. We've done some fantastic work, as you said, with the sector to understand what they need us to do. It isn't just all in TO. There will be a lot of this will be involving other departments and those conversations happening. Our ministers are really focused on what is their contribution to it, and that's what when I said earlier, I need to put a delivery focus now to some of these strategies. Strategies are great, but if you don't actually know what you're going to do with the result of them to make a difference, that's where I hope that we'll be able to add some edge over the coming weeks.
Okay, thank you. Carol, please.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you, David and Gareth. I would like just to have a bit more detail on this new delivery unit. That would be my ask. And then the June monitoring round, does that mean to say all the good relations funded work that people have been informed that their funding is confirmed? I'm just concerned that we're going in, I mean, I'm more of communities and transition and others, but we're getting into the summer, and particularly communities like Brian and Mai's constituency, but not exclusively, are relying on the ongoing work of people who are working on interfaces. And I think the least that we could do is confirm that their funding is there. So it's up to yourselves what you'd like to ask, but they would be my two queries. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Nice to see you again. If I take your first question, then I'll ask Gareth to deal with the June monitoring. So ministers have asked us to scope out what a reform and transformation unit would look like. It's more than just a delivery unit within TEO. It's about looking right across the executive priorities and saying, how can we, for example, bring in SIB? How can we, there's a new transformation bids that DOF are leading, albeit the head of the service is chairing. It's about bringing a sharper focus to what departments are doing. So, whilst we hear and we know that there are significant budget challenges across the block, and we know that, we still have about £20 billion a year of money that goes out every year, and whenever you're in financial pressures, it's really important that you make sure that money is working as hard as possible for you. So ministers are really keen, to try and sharpen what we do right across the executive in terms of delivery, but also delays in delivery can actually cost money. We know in the construction world, the way things have gone, that a number of our construction projects, and there's already been significant audit office commentary around that. So that's why the work they've asked us to scope out isn't just about TEO to deliver a few things within the TEO business plan as such. It's actually about right across the executive, about how we can bring a wide range of expertise. We've got our Chief Scientific Technical Officer. We'll be looking at data and how the civil service can use data to drive forward and to inform a lot of what we want to do. So that's the plan of what we will do to bring that sharper focus, and that's where my particular interest will be. Carol, Gareth, do you want to come in on the second part of Carol's issue?
I've good news on good relations and on CIT. On good relations, the allocations are agreed, and I'll say something more about them in a second, but the letters to applicants are just being finalised and will go out very shortly. What we've been able to do on good relations, first of all, we've had already allocated a budget of £400,000 to the planned interventions programme. That has enabled further funding, leveraged further funding of £300,000 from the Department of Education, which means in total we'll be able to support 121 planned intervention projects over the summer period. On TBUC camps, we've allocated a budget of 1.5 million, and that will facilitate the delivery of 111 camps, and a significant number of those take place over the summer as well. Central good relations, the letters will be issuing shortly. We're able to fund 59 projects this year, which is a 50% increase on last year. And through the District Council Good Relations programme, we'll be funding 90 projects with 70,000 participants. There's just worth mentioning that our last assessment on the District Council Good Relations, 93% of participants were saying that their attitudes towards the other community had changed. On communities in transition, We were successful in June monitoring just in the last few days at getting an additional £1.5 million for this year. So that will allow us to gear up this year's projects. Letters to the promoters again have been being prepared, and we'll be in touch with them shortly. So really all the decisions and the allocations are made. It's just the tail end of the admin and getting letters out that's being finalised.
Sinead, could I just come back on 2 small points, please?
Go ahead.
So, first of all, on a new delivery unit, I would, even if it means just doing it in writing, David, and it's good to see you again as well, that it's the role of CPD, because my experience is that it just slowed everything down. So maybe that's changed over the last couple of years, and how they're going to work in a collegiate way, particularly around procurement, commissioning and tendering. So if we could have additional information on that. The second point I'll say is I'm delighted that this funding's going out, but I would ask very, very respectfully, this is a pinch point every year, and groups particularly are trying to book things, practical things like buses and halls, and without that funding they can't do it, and it's like scramming last minute, and it does dilute the quality of the experience that a lot of these youngsters are going to have. So I would ask, is there any process that we could do that would, give people a bit more security and assurity rather than it coming to the 11th hour? The money is appreciated. I appreciate getting into my consistency, but I would just ask respectfully, is there a way that we could speed this up? Thank you.
Just on the CPD, not that my CPD colleagues would obviously not necessarily agree with your characterisation, but I absolutely get procurement not getting any easier. If I can assure you, Sharon and her team are working really, really closely with the development of the ISNI strategy, and part of the reform and transformation we're looking at, the ISNI strategy will be a key aspect of that, and they've already, I know Patrick McGee, one of the non-executives in the Northern Ireland Solicitors Board, has already sharpened up something like 80 odd processes down to 12. So I do think we're making progress there. Not to say that there isn't obviously more to do, but I do know that there's a massive willingness in CPD, but look, there will always be, where public procurement's concerned and public money, there will always be challenges, but my job within reform transformation will be to make sure that they are skimmed down to as few as they can, and so far Patrick does seem to have taken a really good sharp knife to those.
And just within the department, we're conscious too that the new procurement legislation comes into effect end of October, and we're making arrangements for staff training so that our own people are aware of and able to take advantage of any of the flexibilities in that new legislation. In terms of giving groups more certainty, the thing that we have thought about in the past, but with a series of one-year budgets weren't able to implement, was whether we might take a multi-year approach, a 2 or a 3 year approach to some of these schemes in future. Now, we did do that, the amount of money was smaller. We did do that with the Minority Ethnic Development Fund. It is made clear to applicants that it depends on budget allocations each year, but at least there's an intention, and what we were able to do then was at least to release the first quarter or the first couple of quarter of money to those who were being supported. So that's certainly something in the context of the T-Buck review that we want to have a think about for the future, particularly if we got to a new administration in Westminster and maybe a multi-year comprehensive spending review, which I think would benefit us in a whole variety of ways.
Okay, Carol, thank you. Brian, please.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations, David, on your appointment, and thank you to yourself and Gareth on the information so far at this meeting. In terms of the good relations funding the T-Buck camps, I'd be interested to receive information on that, if we can, just on recipients or the spread, of where funding, as much as we can be given. as I say, just to see the spread of that funding, and welcome also the additional money for communities in transition. Also, if I could mention about urban villages, there's a number of projects outstanding in North Belfast, particularly in the greater Ballysillan area, Ballysillan Playing Fields, Sunningdale Community Centre, Westland Community Centre. So it's just trying to keep tabs on those to make sure that they keep progressing, just even with reference to the delivery unit, which I appreciate what you're saying, that it's a wider remit for it, but I'll continue to monitor the progress of those urban villages project. So I was interested to hear what you're saying, that the delivery unit is not just about TEO projects, it's going to look across the executive, and it's like TEO taking on that role of maybe cracking the whip, whether that's too strong a term, but trying to ensure that there is efficiency across the executive projects, and that progress is happening. So the main question I want to ask is, you mentioned that with reference to the reform and transformation. I'm not sure, was that a project or what that is that likewise, is that reform and transformation, is that looking across executive departments, or is it just within TEO, and how much impact, how much strength will it have, including looking at where we can have greater efficiencies? Sometimes people will make general comments about the size of the civil service here, and is there that focus being given to ensuring that there is the efficiency within it?
So I'll let Gareth come on the greater the T-Buck camps and the urban villages, which appear to be, from my first briefing, a really successful initiative. In terms of the reform transformation, so first of all, to be clear, the first Deputy First Minister have asked us to scope it out, so it hasn't yet been established as such. It is something we're scoping out to present to them. The idea that First Deputy First would crack whips with their executive colleagues, I suspect that wouldn't go down particularly well. Our system of government, ministers and accounting officers and departments have a certain amount of autonomy, and obviously, we have to operate within that. That's not to say but that we can't support. So rather than be a stick approach, we actually want the transformation team, if it's agreed to be established, and if we can get the right expertise in, we would see it as actually supporting departments with delivery, challenging where needed to, absolutely, because the minute if we want to know why something's not working, we ask the department to tell us why it's not working, and usually we don't really have much to come back on, because we might not have the expertise or the information. So it will be about allowing us to offer the right level of challenge, but also to support in the delivery, because it's in all our interests. This isn't that this is right across government, so it is that we need to deliver better and smarter, and therefore it won't be about one department telling another department what to do. My thinking of where the first effort is, that it will be there to aid executive delivery right across the board, so it will.
We can certainly give you more information on all those good relations projects and where they are, with the list just having been agreed. We haven't quite got to the stage of drawing the maps and things yet, but certainly last year's projects I did get mapped, and there was representation across the region that was important, but no, we'll be happy to provide some more information on that. And on urban villages, absolutely, there is I think a renewed impetus there to address the remaining capital projects, some of which are very substantial and will make a real difference in communities. On Ballysillan, am I right in remembering that there was the council added in some thoughts there about better lighting and the difference that could make, which just has meant a little bit of going backwards and forwards again. But I understand that goes just to our own committee internally at the start of next week. So I'm hoping, subject to the necessary approvals, that we'll be able to move ahead there.
Okay. Just in case you think I avoided the civil service question, by the way, and turkeys don't vote for Christmas, certainly nothing will be off the table. Ultimately, the size of the public sector and the size of civil service will depend on what the executive's ambition and priorities are. So, you need people to deliver your programmes and your priorities, but clearly we need to deliver them in the most efficient and effective way. So, is a smaller civil service on the table? If that's what's ultimately needed to deliver, then absolutely it can be on the table. We will look right across all opportunities, but, we do need people to deliver programmes. So, depending on how ambitious the executive wants to be, we can match that ambition. I would prefer to say we'd need to be much more efficient and sharper at how we deliver, and that's where getting greater expertise and advice in. I think the opportunity for data and the exploitation of IT and our data will actually allow us to take a lot of the routine, monotonous functions out and actually redirect people into more value-adding roles.
And there's a transformation bid in specifically on that.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Sinead, please. Okay, Sinead, we can see your microphone going ahead.
Hello, I'm not sure if you can, you can see me now. Welcome on board and congratulations on your appointment, David.
Thank you, Sinead.
Also, I want to ask you a couple of questions. The first one I want to ask you is about the draft investment strategy. I understand that the department is still considering the consultation responses. And given that the First Minister has stated a commitment to regional balance, can we expect this to make specific and deliberate and targeted interventions in places with the least economic activity?
So you're absolutely right. The draft investment strategy is planned for consultation. The Strategic Investment Board have been doing transfer to work with departments now on that. That has to be presented to ministers, and ministers will then ultimately need to make decisions on that. What that will involve and where that will pivot money and the impact of regional balance, those will all be issues for ministers. Clearly, the Economy Minister has regional balance very firmly in terms of what his desire is. So I think, without putting words in ministers' mouths, you can be assured that it will be on the agenda and they will certainly be considering it. What they ultimately decide on it, I obviously can't say at this stage.
And how closely do you think that the programme for government will be aligned to that investment strategy? And when do you think the deadline is for the publication of that programme for government?
So the fact that we haven't actually published the strategy yet will absolutely allow us to make sure that the programme for government and it do align. So it does. In terms of when the programme for government consultation can happen, obviously the pre-election period has frustrated the plans and the work we have. We are still working with ministers to agree a consultation at the end of the pre-election period. We haven't yet finalised that yet, so I'll happily come back to you whenever that's been agreed.
But realistically, so once we go, that's agreed, and a consultation process begins, how soon can that get in place? Realistically, what kind of time frame are we working towards?
In terms of the programme for government?
Yeah.
So the plan, once a programme for government is agreed, obviously it need to be agreed by the executive, so it would, and then there's a question about whether or not it is socialised, how it's socialised to the Assembly, and then obviously it'll have to go out for consultation. Again, will depend on whether that goes out over the summertime, in which case it's not a good time to be consulting and we might need to consult for longer. So all of those things are currently, we have scenario plans against all of those depending on where we actually end up in. So again, apologies, I can't give you any timeframes at this stage because obviously they're still with ministers to consider. But I can assure you that they're under active consideration if I can take it to that extent.
Do you, maybe autumn of this year or pre-Christmas?
And look, the programme for government will come out whenever the ministers approve it. So they will. They could approve it potentially before the autumn.
I'm just telling you my frustrations, David. We're a scrutiny committee here, and trying to look at prioritisation, even of the work of this committee, it's just really difficult with lack of sight of the fundamentals of government, and that is the programme for government, and that is the investment strategy, and it's to see how all of these dovetail into one another. I feel in this committee that we work blindfolded, and just on that as well, our chair expressed the frustration about the administration and the briefing papers, etc., that come to this committee. We also haven't seen the junior ministers, and to be honest, like by the time September comes, it'll be 8 months since the institutions have been established, and 2 of the ministers of this committee haven't even presented themselves to the committee. It is just shambolic and deeply, deeply frustrating.
Look, I hear your frustration, Sinead. I
Yeah,
understand.
and I think it's really important to tell you that in day one as well, so that going forward, that you can understand that the members of this committee just feel a little bit, blanked in a way from the scrutiny process and the true governance that the TEO deserves.
Look, I can assure you there's absolutely no disrespect meant, so there isn't. I understand that ministers, including junior ministers, have agreed a date of the 2nd of October now to come to the committee. I hear your concerns about what's happened before that. I would simply add that there's absolutely no disrespect meant in that. There is a tremendous amount of work that's happening. I think a lot of what ministers do in TEO is actually like the iceberg. It is very unseen. There's a tremendous amount of activity underway. But I can tell you from
and I'm sure there is, but that won't then be 9 months. I was given credence for 8 months. It'll be 9 months before they come and tell us of all the work that they are actually doing. And as you say, a lot of it is unseen, and it's unseen by the committee as well. So I just, as the permanent secretary, you need to know how the members, or certainly the member for Foyle, actually feels about this.
And look, I note your concerns. I hear them loud and clear, Sinead, absolutely.
Okay, and then another quick question. Do you view that the part of the TEO's work is to improve cross-departmental working? And if yes, how is that achieved? And if no, whose job is it?
I didn't get the last bit, Sinead, sorry.
If it's no, whose job is it? Do you see it part of your role to improve cross-departmental working as the permanent secretary of TEO?
So absolutely it is. I think the executive office sits at the heart of government, and our ministers have obviously a much wider responsibility than individual departmental ministers. Of course, the constitutional arrangement gives individual departments and their ministers a certain amount of autonomy, but obviously they come together as an executive, so they do. It is absolutely for us. So the work I was talking to Brian earlier about the reform and transformation unit is absolutely about bringing a whole of government lens, and not just necessarily central government, because local government have a major role, up in the northwest. The city deals at Derry, City of Strabane, District Council are taken forward. So local government have a role here as well, and we have engagement with local government and the central government through various platforms. So absolutely to accept it as a role for TEO. Yes, without a shadow of a doubt, do I think the potential of a reform and transformation unit will help improve that and make it better, and maybe take us away from dreaded interdepartmental working groups that invariably don't work. Yes, I absolutely do think that will help that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
Good luck.
Thanks, Sinead. Harry, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. And my question's similar to your first one. First of all, congratulations, Dave.
Sorry.
Okay, although you said just interim, you were really going to take a hold of this thing and take a lead on it. So in the list of priorities that you would have looked at, what's the first thing that you really jumped out at? You thought, I really need to do this first, and maybe you've started it and all, please?
So in terms of priorities, there are ministers' priorities. I don't come in with personal priorities of what I want to deliver. So I met First Minister and Deputy First Minister on day 2, and I heard from them directly that their priority is delivery. It's delivery, delivery, delivery. So that, when I look across the department and I look at the wide range of responsibilities we have, the number of pieces of work that were taken forward in the last couple of years, and what's now needed against the resourcing we have. So my challenge is to make sure that my team and TEO have the capacity and capability to meet the head-on the challenge that ministers have set for them. That's so making sure that people are in the right place with the right skill sets. In terms of the policies, they will absolutely be ministers, and the ministers' policies and priorities will be my policies and priorities.
Can we follow up? We'll talk about in our first 100 days. So in your first 100 days, what would be your goals?
Like 13, I'm not sure I'll make the 100 days, so I won't. Look, I think I think there's been some really good platforms laid in terms of the foundation for the department, and that's really, really necessary, because if you try to build anything without the platforms, it'll not work. I have a background coming through the benefit system previously in my last roles in economy of delivering things, making things happen. I want to try and bring that lens. I understand. I worked in what was OFM DFM back in 98, right through 2005-2006, and I understand the unique challenges of this department, but I also understand the opportunities, because it delivers for so many important strategies that sit at the heart of what we do. For example, last week we issued the public consultation on the mother and baby units. You know, that's a significant, that will make a massive difference to a significant number of people. And you know, we've also got the victim survivors, we've got the Historical Institute of Abuse. I'm going down tomorrow to see our colleagues in DOJ that are delivering on the payments, victims' payments. So, you know, what I want to do is I want to understand what we're doing that's adding value and delivering what the Minister's priorities and programmes are, and where there are pinch points, either that are brought to my attention by you or by our ministers. I want to see what we can do to address them. Are they things that I can address? Or are they more substantial strategic issues that need to be discussed further with ministers? That's what I'd hope to do.
Okay. And the main word that you mentioned there was delivery lots of times, so that's good. So thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Did you want to come into yours quite quick, because I have a few questions to come back on?
It's maybe slightly a comment, but I just want to push you a wee bit further. I was interested, if that's okay, Chair, what you were saying earlier about having a remit beyond TEO as a department. You know, I talked to visiting groups about our power sharing arrangements and the mandatory coalition that we have. I always feel the danger is that you end up with 9 silos, and TEO's just seen as one of 9 departments with the smallest budget and so on. But it's important that the executive operates collectively, you know, and I welcome. I think you're suggesting that TEO as a department has a wider remit as well, and I welcome that, and I'm taking that broader view, and. So just further on that, how would you describe the relationship between your role, which had been vacant for a while, and the head of civil service role? And has there been any impact of your role, you now being in post, on the head of civil service, on Jane's role?
So obviously Jane's my immediate line manager, and she's in TO. I think Jane would share the Minister's desire to drive forward our delivery agenda and our transformation agenda. With Jane's background, you'll not be surprised to hear she's very wedded to the data and the chief scientific and technical about getting an evidence base and about getting expertise in to help us. So you're very right, sometimes we work in silos, not because that's where we want to be, but sometimes the overarching structure doesn't actually enable departments to come together. We've a lot of challenges. You know, I sit around the table every Friday morning with my colleagues, my Permanent Secretary colleagues, and you know, I know they have massive challenges in each of their own departments. I know the budget is not ideal for any of us. But you know, we need to try and focus on what can we do together, and usually the best outcomes are the ones that actually they take time to deliver, but actually you deliver them working across, whether with other departments or actually outside the world, whether it's private voluntary sector or local council. So I absolutely want to widen our scope to see what can we do to help all departments deliver, because it'll be a rising tide that will float all boats. This can't be, you know, we let 1 or 2 departments struggle and feel that they're on their own. We have to comment this, and I think the civil service can help our executive colleagues and our ministers, because you know, politics can be difficult at times, and naturally people can resort into certain positions. I think if as a civil service we can provide opportunities and options and provide the right evidence base, actually it will help inform our ministers take whatever decisions they ultimately take, but at least when they take them they will know they're taking informed decisions with the best evidence that we can give them, as opposed to sometimes the only evidence we have available at that stage.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I've got 3 quick questions and then I have a comment to make at the end, and I just want to direct the first couple to you, Gareth. So I think the first session you came, I'd asked you about historical clerical sexual abuse research. I'm just wondering if you can give us an update on that. whether any more interim payments have come forward from the institutions in terms of historical institutional abuse. And then this one might be a wee bit more difficult, and it's around an assembly question that came back around the appointment process for the 3 new bodies, the 3 new commissioners under the Identity and Languages Act, and it says in it this can take up to a year to run that appointment. And I would appreciate if you could speak to that, because as you know, in the past the Northern Ireland office had started a process to try and scope out people for these appointments, and that was a year ago. So, you know, we could well be 2 years, and maybe the best people may even lose interest if they feel that the process is just going to drag on, and then I'll make a comment at the end. Thank you.
Yeah. The historical clerical child abuse, the research on this, and this is about people who weren't in residential institutions and weren't in mother and baby homes and Magdalen laundries who weren't covered by the work that's been done up until now. It's not in any way that people were an afterthought. This has been a group of people that has been in contemplation right from the start of this work, but it was agreed that things would be handled in a phased basis because of the large number of issues, large number of people involved. There is, I think as I told the committee before this, a new chair has been appointed to the Interdepartmental Working Group and is proving very active, has been meeting victims and survivors and meeting other stakeholders who are involved. So we're now at the stage where, roughly speaking, one of the problem, as you recall, was there was a very big piece of research commissioned. The view of the market was just it was too big to do in one go, so we divided it into 3. Roughly speaking, one is tendered and about to go, one is out and just being finalised, and one will follow up very quickly after that. So between the work on the faith institutions and records, the work on the impact on victims and survivors, all of that is going to be out, and the research projects actively happening very soon.
So has any of that moved forward? That sounds very similar to what you told me 4 months ago.
It's moved forward in that there's a one. I'd have to check whether it's technically been awarded yet, but I mean, one about to go out. We're talking to a consortium about the other about to award. So it is moving forward. And if I'm in front of the committee early after the summer, I would say that I'll be able to confirm that those are now happening. On the
interim payments.
On the yes. We do. In fact, there's an offer that's with ministers at the moment about a second payment. So 2 institutions made payments. Those were in respect of the first 3 years of the scheme, and those reflected the principles, the obligations on institutions that Paul Sweeney had set down and agreed in his set of principles. One of those institutions has now said we want to pay for year 4, and that is just currently with ministers. Of the others, there is one that has indicated they want to look holistically at their payments next year when the scheme has ended, and they know that everyone's been through, but they've recognised their obligations in that. There are 2 more that there are positive discussions with, and I would think something will come soon, and I'd have to say the final one is moving more slowly, but we're committed to moving that forward too. And then on the rights, language and identity appointments, a year maybe is hopefully the outside, and normally with public appointments, once the button is pressed on them, we would try to get them through in 6 to 9 months. Ministers have agreed the principles of those appointments, and so we are now organising we've agreed the panels to sit in them. We're now organising the competition initiation meetings over the summer, and we'll then go back to ministers with candidate booklets, where the advertising going to be, what criteria it's proposed would be used, those practical things, so that we can go ahead to advertise and to publicly to launch the competitions at that stage.
Okay, and I think we are having a full session on that after recess, so we'll certainly come back to that just to flag that as a priority. I suppose just the last, it's more of a comment, and it's in relation to the mother and baby institutions, the consultation that you launched last week. And Connie and I met with a representative who's been through the process and is involved with the consultation forum, and I suppose it reflects some of what he said just this morning reflects a lot of the correspondence we've received via email, and it's that the consultation itself seems to be very restrictive and very leading, and that there's really not enough scope then to identify where people have maybe been impacted by forced adoptions, for example, who didn't come through maybe one of the institutions through a traditional route. So just put it on your radar that we as a party are probably going to come back with quite a strong pushback against that it needs to be widened. And my comment really is then, have you been picking up that the feedback has been that the consultation itself has not really lent itself to consultees being able to feed in properly their own experiences and their own ambitions and thoughts?
Well, the structure of the consultation is based on what we normally do, which is asking specific questions, because it means then that the results of that can more quickly be assimilated and can inform, and so it's helpful to have targeted responses. There's nothing to stop people, if they want alongside their response, from sending a letter in, sending an email in, using one of the boxes on the consultation, if there are other wider things that they want to say. So I would say use the form because it helps, but don't feel constrained by the form if there's something that you want us to hear. In terms of the scope, as you've said, and I know there's a range of different views. The focus obviously has been on up until now on mother and baby institutions, Magdalen laundries, and on the adoptions that were carried out consequent on people who were in those institutions, in particular who gave birth in those institutions. And that has been, I suppose, a theme that has gone through the different reports and the different studies on this. But we're not, there are no final decisions as yet. I'm certainly open to any representations that people want to make.
I think that's probably on that positive note then that, as you know, it's something that we as a committee are really quite keen to see progressed, and that you just get it right whenever the actual bill comes before us as a committee for scrutiny, so we don't have to amend it too much at the far end. So I'm just going to leave it there, and thank you both for coming today. I appreciate it. I gave it quite short notice, but I think it was useful to get to meet you formally today. But,
I'd have offered anyway, but I thought you were planning to finish and you weren't coming in today because you were busy elsewhere, so I welcome the invitation generally.
We were going to have a topic that we thought might have been a little bit contentious in the mouth of the election, so we just thought we would, but once we knew that you'd come into post, we thought that this was a good opportunity to meet you. So thank you so much again, and if you can send stuff through over even in the summer, we'll make sure that the clerks get them out, because we're keen to see that delivery that you've spoken about.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Members, we're going to go through the formalities quite quickly then, just to sign off, if you bear with us for a few minutes. So we had apologies from Podrick and Claire, and I think Emma as well sent them through. And in terms of Chair's business, I don't have anything specific that's not within the correspondence packs. Your minutes are on page 7 to 11 of your pack, and if you're content, go ahead and sign them. And any amendments or any matters arising from them? No? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'll just sign those at the end. Okay, so just in terms of the draft forward work programme, you'll find that on page 17 of your meeting pack, and it's just to raise that issue that the First and Deputy First Minister and the two Junior Ministers will attend committee on the 2nd of October. Evidence from Queen's University planned for that date will be received then the following week on the 9th of October, and the Human Rights Commission and Public Records Office will also be invited to attend on that date. The visit to Ebrington has now been pushed back to the 16th of October. So everybody content with that? More details in your pack. And anybody want to raise anything in terms of correspondence or any other business at this stage? Go ahead.
Sure. So we appreciate the visit, Ewan Duffy coming in and speaking to us, and he's written again, and I'm aware that also had correspondence in from, I think it was from Truth Recovery NI.
Yes.
So, and he's using their name again in his letter, and maybe he is a member of it, but I think they didn't, in their view, he wasn't a spokesperson for the group.
He wasn't speaking in that capacity, yes.
But maybe he is a member still of the group, so perhaps that's, but it's just so that we don't want to get into any competing narratives, you know. We will take his letter that he's writing in a personal capacity, referencing other things that he's involved in.
And I think it reflected some of the concerns that I just raised there with David and Gareth around the co-design and the process for setting up the consultation for the mother and baby institution. So I think that we can take it at face value, as you say, as a private individual writing to us as committee members. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, any other business or correspondence? Okay, well thank you very much everyone, and we shall see you at the far side of summer recess. Thank you.
All the best.
Yeah.
Ebrington, Wednesday the 16th, is it?
Committee Room 21. Sound. 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 Committee Room 21. Sound.